Namaste. Welcome for week 3 of our 30-minute yoga practice in the Love Your Core yoga series. We'll start with a quick review of diaphragmatic breathing and the added recruitment of pelvic floor. Diaphragmatic breathing. Take your hands by your side. Maybe even turn your gaze low or close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths. Visualize the breath being full down in your belly. With the hands at your sides, start to find your lower rib points and your anterior hip point. On an inhale, expand those 2 points away from each other, both out to the sides and front to back. On the exhale, open your mouth, breathe out, and draw low rib points closer to anterior hip points and vice versa. Do it one more time with the breath. Inhale, exhale. Now adding our pelvic floor recruitment to that. I talked about in the 5-minute pelvic floor breath work, visualizing an elevator. Your sits bones start with the elevator doors open. It's the exhale breath that we want to draw the elevator doors to close and start to draw up from floor 0 to 1 to 2. The inhale breath is where we get to expand and slowly release the elevator from the 2nd floor through the 1st one and back to the basement or bottom floor. And at the same time, open the doors. Let's try all of those things together. It's a lot, but visualize the best that we can. Inhale first. And on this exhale, elevator doors draw closed and up, even as low rib points draw down. Inhale, expand. Slowly drop the elevator down and open. Try it one more time. Nice full inhale first. And then the exhale is in and up. The inhale gets you expanded. Okay, as much as makes sense to you, let that breath pattern go with you in this 30-minute practice. Come down to all fours. I'm not going to mention it too much because it is a lot to think about. But if maybe just in these first few minutes, you're still really taking awareness and mind for pelvic floor and diaphragmatic breathing. Do cat and cow here. So that perhaps on every exhale, as you round the back and drop the tailbone, you imagine the pelvic floor lifting. And on the inhale, as we drop belly down, pull chest through, eyes and tailbone up, you imagine that release and expansion. Couple more times, moving through cat and cow. We'll do a lot of the movements that we've already done in weeks 1 and 2 and adding on this week. Bird dog pose. Lift your left leg up and back and the right arm out in front. Square off the hips and shoulders. Know that you can always use the progressions that we've already been with, the variations, meaning maybe it's the hand down instead of up, so that you can stay more into the legs and core. Easier on your balance. Move with this now. Pull elbow and knee in. So So I trust that you've seen those variations. You're working your way through this month-long core series. Choose what's best for you so that you can really stay engaged. Come down, change to the second side, right leg, left arm. I'd rather you do the movement full, certainly offering different variations, rather than doing a more challenging option that you only get to half experience. Yeah? Pull in and out, twice more here. Downward facing dog, tuck your toes and lift the hips up and back. Give it a little pedal through the feet, just kind of nice, full stretch. Continue to talk about the 4 components of Love Your Core, at least just according to me. Bend both knees and walk your feet forward to the front end of your yoga mat and do ragdoll pose. Those 4 components being the stabilization and mobility, the strengthening and the softening. Both ends of the coin, they all come together. This is that softening and release, as well as mobility, letting yourself just hang from side to side here. Okay, slowly roll up to standing. Shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. We'll do 2 rounds of sun salutation here using that lunge step through that we've worked on. I have a step stool close by. Maybe you have yoga blocks so that you can use them knowing the modifications that we've worked with. Come to plank pose. From toes or knees. Lower down with control. So kind of lower, lower, lower. Inhale, pull the chest up for cobra. Press down into your hands, into your feet. Squeeze the glutes here. And then change to child's pose in that reverse push-up. Add in our lunge step through. So go to downward facing dog. Lift the right foot 2 feet off of the ground. Shoulders move over the line of the wrist. Pull the knee into the chest, round the back. Step your right foot all the way through. Come up to high lunge, arms to the sky. Bring fists together at your chest, elbows out to the side, and twist to your right, hold, and add 5 more pulses. Back, 2, 3, 4, 5. You unwind. Set the hands back down as slowly as you can. No momentum. Pull the right foot back in and step all the way back to downward facing dog. Knowing again, hands on floor, blocks, or even the support of a chair, you go to the second side. Lift the left leg 2 feet up. So you pull the knee in, round the back, and draw the shoulders over the back of the wrist. Step through. Come all the way upright. Lift the arms to the sky. Extend out through the front knee and press through your back heel to sit even a little bit lower. Imagine the transverse abs knitting in here, right into the center. That stays with you as we take fists together, elbows out, and twist. Great. Strengthening and mobility here. Strengthening in the abs as we get the mobility in the upper back. Add your pulses. Come back around to the front. Lower the hands down. And then I want you to step forward here. Don't worry, we'll get a little bit more of the step back in just a moment. Inhale, half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach both arms to the sky. Palms together, center of your chest. The whole thing one more time. We'll start on that left side so that everything gets the same opportunity. Forward fold. Half lift. Step back to plank. Before you go anywhere else, establish that high plank position, straight arms, whether it's knees or toes, and using strength to slowly lower you down. The first couple of weeks I just said fall down. This week you're holding your weight a little bit more. Curl the chest up for cobra, squeeze in the glutes, press down through your hands and feet to keep the shoulders out of your ears. And then the reverse push up and back, child's pose. Downward facing dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Okay, so here's where we start on the left side first. If you're using props under hands, grab them here. And then start with me. Left leg, 2 feet up. Pull the knee to chest. Hover forward, slow, slow, slow. Step it through. Come up to your high lunge. Right into the twist, fists together, elbows out, look to the left. Add the pulses, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back around to the front. Lower the hands. Here's where this side gets to do the slow step back. Drag the heel in towards the chest and move it back, downward facing dog. Second side, last time. Lift the right leg up now, 2 feet off of the ground. Pull the knee to the chest, round, forward, hover, and then step it through. Come up to high lunge. All that balance and stabilization work, super good for the core. Take the fists together and twist. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Untwist, arms up. Lower the hands down. Okay, pelvic floor, think of that elevator lifting up as you exhale and step forward. Like that. Inhale, half lift, forward fold, stand up, reach the arms to the sky, and arms come through the center to lower down, mountain pose. Nice time to include that diaphragmatic breath and pelvic floor alignment is in mountain pose where we're not having to think about quite as much. Do it one time here. On the exhale, elevator doors close and lift. Try to slowly release down as you inhale and expand out. Okay. For the next thing, this is why I brought the chair out. You may use it or not. It's a great variation for eagle pose. So I'm actually going to use it to start. Sometimes I sit against a wall instead of a chair. If you're using the chair, you're right at the edge of the chair. Cross your right leg over your left and try to squeeze that outer heel, your inner heel to the outer calf. Okay, so eagle pose, fully seated against a wall or chair. Right arm wraps under the left. If you're wanting to scoot your way off of that chair, legs are already in place for you. Let yourself come forward. Everyone be as upright as possible here. Elbows and knees go away from each other. And then we're going to do little crunches. Slow, slow, slow. Bring the elbows down to touch or hover right next to the knees. And then come back up. One more time. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Find that chair right back behind you to come out and go to the second side. If you're like, hey, no need for the chair or a wall, you do it right into the center. Certainly if this is the second or third time you're through this 30-minute practice, maybe you're ready to go for that full standing Left leg would wrap over, and it's still like you're seated in a chair, whether you're using the actual chair or not, and left arm underneath. Again, to start, we want the torso as vertical as possible. And then exhale as you pull up on pelvic floor, low ribs easily down towards the top of the hip here as you crunch in. Inhale, expand and lift more vertical. Exhale. Crunch. Inhale, come back upright. Find your chair, 2 feet to the ground, unwrap everything. Good. We'll move into our standing pose series. Wide stance. When I say wide stance, if you take your arms out to the side, imagine a line dropping from your wrist straight down. We want it to hit your outer ankles. That's usually a great place for folks to start. This is a lateral lunge. I'm going to just take the hands in now to the center and try to keep your chest lifted. So if you have something written across your chest, you always want to imagine that the other person across the way can read it. You're not tilted forward where that logo or saying gets lost. All is possible. I want us to be proud and remember that. Okay, bend just your right knee as you hinge towards the side in this lateral lunge. Now your seat, your butt can go back and your chest goes a little bit forward, but not so far forward that we can't read the shirt. Yeah? For me, this is always tough work. In pelvic floor, try to squeeze the inner thighs in towards each other and feel that lift from the base of the pelvis moving into the belly. And straighten the legs. Try it on the second side, bend the left knee. You'll notice I've got the feet still parallel to one another, toes straight ahead, heels straight back. There are different ways to access this kind of position and shape, but for today, toes straight ahead so we can really get that lengthening on the inner thigh. Imagine squeezing the thighs together as you come back up to the middle. Extend the arms out and turn the right toes out to the side. Triangle pose. We're going to use those triangle pose crunches that we've done last week. Here we are. Hinge and reach as far as you can, and then lower hand to the top of the shin. So I'm only a few inches below my knee here so that I've got plenty of room and access to really broaden and open across the belly and chest, top arm to the sky. A couple of options. It's using that hand on the bottom the whole time for support, or take it up to the top shoulder, somewhere in between, hold on to the hip. Okay? Look up at the top hand and everyone stand up. Move back to your bottom point. Slow and controlled the whole time. I'm thinking pelvic floor. Pull up. Exhale. Expand and release slowly. Inhale, pull up. And go back, hand down for triangle pose. Okay, come all the way upright and bend your right knee. Maybe a little even of a wider stance for warrior two. Same-ish practice, using obliques here to really do a lot of work for us, and nice strong engagement of transverse abs to keep us engaged. Touch elbow now down towards the knee and pull yourself up. Twice more, elbow down towards the knee and pull yourself up. Elbow down towards the knee and pull yourself up. Each week we add on a little bit more. Here's the little bit more this week. Heel toe your back foot closer in. This is a hovering half moon pose. Reach your right fingertips maybe about a foot off of the ground. Change all of your weight into that right side, keeping hips, belly a bit open to the side. Can you lift, lift, lift? Left leg off of the ground. Hold it, breathe, and then lower it back down. Step wide, warrior two. Straighten the left leg. Your right leg, and switch over to the second side. This whole series on the second side, let's do it. We've got this. Gaze out over your left fingertips. Hinge from the hip, reach as far as you can. So you want the mobility to help you. That's set. Now stabilize. Bottom hand to the top of the shin, top hand to the sky. Breathe there. One progression is to stay and work with this static pose. And again, progression, keeping hand down, taking it to the waist, or all the way to the opposite shoulder. Look up if possible and stand upright. Lower back down. Inhale, stand upright. Lower back down. Inhale, stand upright. Lower back down. Come all the way up. Bend the left knee a lot. Broaden out your stance. Warrior two. Remember, we're not trying to hover forward or back, but right into the center. Try hands behind the head and lean your head back into the hands. Option progression here would be elbow down to the knee instead of hand behind the head, so you get a little bit more support. We're going 3 times. Try it on an exhale now as you stand up each time, or bring the torso more vertical each time, I should say. Kiss the knee and lift vertical. Do it a 3rd time. Kiss the knee and lift vertical. Arms straight out. Look out over the left fingertips. Heel toe the back foot in so you don't have such a wide stance. Remember, we are trying our best to balance just the left leg on the floor. A little bit of a pendulum. As the left hand goes down, try to keep it hovering above the ground. Top arm to the sky. And right leg as high as to the waistline. Step it all the way back to warrior two. Straighten both legs. Turn the toes parallel to one another. And heel toe your way in. Great. Good job on the standing sequence. We're going to come all the way down to the mat and finish off the practice with a great sort of more traditional ab look. We start with side plank. So actually lean over so that you're balanced on just your left hand. And I'm going to give us all of the options here. If you start lying on your side, top hand to the waist, and then push your knees down, lift your hips up. First look at side plank. Stay there or extend one leg. Good there. Extend both legs. Hold any of those options right here for side plank. If you're looking to get even a little bit more involved, top arm can go long overhead. Last 10 seconds on this side. Stack the feet if you're going for even more of a progression and pull elbow to knee in and out, in and out, and in and out. Flip over to the other side so you can take your way all the way down. For sake of the camera, I'm going to stay facing you, but you could just flip over and set up side plank. Again, if you're starting knees, hips down, holding an opening. Next, lift the hips up. You'll notice I always have a little bit of a draw back of the shoulder from the back of my wrist. One leg can stay down. Two legs up. I'm often just crossing at the ankles there. But if you're going to do that extra challenge of the top knee, we've got to take top arm over, Long full stretch through the top side of the body and elbow to knee 3 times. In and out, in and out, in and out. From where you are, turn to full plank. Go down to your forearms. Hands can clasp, elbows apart, but only as wide as the shoulders. Again, your knees down, progression A. Knees up, progression B. Hip dips, progression C, meaning side to side here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your knees, sit back in child's pose for a quick little pause, remembering that those exhale releases are so important. And then as ready, flip over so that you are lying down on your back. Bridge pose. Reach your hands to try to brush close to your heels. Press your head, shoulders, and feet down to the mat. Lift your hips high. As you lift the hips here, squeeze in. Think tops of the thighs straight up to the sky. Keep pressing head, shoulders, and feet down. Another big expansive inhale. On the exhale, can you drop halfway down? And imagine diaphragmatic work, pelvic floor lift. Inhale, release and open. Lift the hips as you actually release a bit through the pelvis. And then halfway down again. All the way up. And all the way down. Sit on your hands. Take your legs straight up into the air. Leg raises. We want our feet over the line of the hips, not coming forward or away. Feel free to bend the knees if that feels tight in low back, or hamstrings when the legs are straight. Now, very important here, test it out one leg at a time. First, you want to feel as though the belly is more moving down and in, engaged and in control. If that's happening, not doming up, then you can glue the feet together and see how it goes with straight legs. Now, the name of the game here is actually slow it down, pay attention. We've been doing that throughout our whole Love Your Core series, so you're well versed. I know you got this. Nice and slow. One more time for the leg raise. Leave the legs up to the sky. Take the hands out to your T. We did this last week, firmly rotated pose. Have you been trying it and staying with knees bent or straight legs? Take your best option here and send both legs over towards the right side. It's that hover, squeeze the bottom leg, inner thighs to engage and lift through the core. And come back to the center. Second side, straight legs or bent knees. If you're using bent knees, keep those knees over the line of the hip. And come back to the center. You've got one more time to each side, to the right, center, and to the left, center. All the hard work has happened. Nicely done. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little crunch and lift there. And then draw the knees more under the armpits. Release head and shoulders down. And we'll do happy baby. So here is that release, that softening. That's oh so important. This position can be really hard for me, something I don't love at all in a group class, but done on my own in practice, a little bit easier to release, to let go. Okay, take the soles of your feet to the ground here. Indeed, keep the feet away from each other and let the knees fall into the center. And we'll end with just one more minute of focused breath work. Take both hands over the belly, close your eyes. Inhale, breathe into your hands. Exhale, imagine knitting the low ribs down as the pelvic floor lifts up. Harder, I think, is the slow release on the inhale of the pelvic floor. And then remember, hearkening back to week 1, we need some time and space between these diaphragmatic breath practice with the pelvic floor. Give your body a moment in between. And then we try to do it one more time, just regular old inhale breath here. On the exhale, harness those elevator doors closing and rising up. Imagine stopping at each floor on the way up and the way down. The bigger inhale breath to open the doors at the bottom. You're welcome to stay here a few more minutes, just enjoying the release and stillness from the close of your 30-minute practice. I hope you'll have time to return to this again. Adieu.